Somewhere, on the blurry edge of memory, I picture a scene. I am in my little brother's childhood room. He and I are creating elaborate plot lines for our Playmobil figures. By day, they run a school, a hotel, a tap dancing ensemble. Then fictional evening descends. We put the children to bed. The adults, we announce with knowing smiles that they are going to stay up all night. I laugh at this now, this idea that staying up all night would be a privilege of adulthood. Come actual adulthood, I feel like I spend much of my energy some days convincing the younger people in my house to go to bed so I can go to bed. There is always something else that has to happen. The toddler wants to be rocked again. Someone else's homework must go in the backpack. Someone has forgotten to tell me something very important. Some story that takes meandering minutes to come to its conclusion. I love sleep. I'd like to think that sleep loves me back. But sleep and I have had to work hard to maintain our relationship. During these years with babies and my own particular middle-age dilemma, early rising little kids, and night owl teenagers. I have become an acute observer of sleep's quirks. Some fantastical dream suddenly introduces the plot twist of a crying child. And then, in a few minutes, the dream itself has disappeared, and I am in my room with an actual sleepless kid. During the infant phases, when I was waking and falling back asleep multiple times per day, I learned to recognize when, exactly, sleep was starting to visit. My mind would drift somewhere related to my life, and then, as a familiar weight settled, I would see some scene that could not really be happening. I dreamed lucidly at times, particularly during the naps my poorly sleeping babies necessitated. I was aware, but thinking things I normally would not. I know the bleary resignation of facing down a day without enough sleep. I know the particular despair of doing it multiple nights in a row. And yet I have seen a curious paradox with this, one that affects a great many people during the busy years of raising a family and building a career, and that has important ramifications for how we can best manage our schedules. I track my time on weekly spreadsheets. All of my time. Since April of 2015, I have recorded how I have spent every half hour of my life. There's no reason for anyone who doesn't study time professionally to do more than a few weeks of this. But the upside of my long-running data gathering is that I know exactly how much I sleep and when I sleep. My data set contains thousands of days. These recorded years include the babyhoods of my two youngest children, including all those middle-of-the-night wake-ups and miserably early weekend mornings. There have been rough stretches. Yet one way or another, I hit my sleep set point, 7.3 to 7.4 hours per day, averaged over any given 8 weeks or so. That's squarely in the range, 7 to 9 hours a day, that sleep literature suggests most adults need. The most rigorous time diary studies have found that most people do get enough sleep from a quantitative perspective. The American Time Use Survey, which has thousands of people talk through how they spent the previous 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. day, usually covering all 365 days of the year, found that in 2020, the average person slept 9.01 hours in a 24-hour period, up from 8.84 hours in 2019. In 2019, employed parents with kids under age 6 averaged 8.32 hours, 8.26 for men, 8.39 for women. No one ever believes me when I mention this statistic. But my own time diary studies of people with jobs and kids, which have had people record how they spent the previous day, hour by hour, have found averages that are fairly close to 8 hours too. For instance, When I had women who held intense professional jobs and who had children at home track their time for a week for my book, I Know How She Does It, I found that they averaged 7.7 hours of sleep per day.